This episode is dedicated to all of my siblings, sisters, and brothers out there who are going through National Novel Writing Month right now. We can do this. We can get through. We can make it to the word count. I know that about right now, I'm usually going crazy, but I'm pre-recording this because, I need pep talks too. And some people write themselves notes. I'm a podcaster. I'm podcasting my own pep talk and I'm putting it out for all y'all. So hopefully you will have a good nano experience as well. So let's do the pep talk on today's Project Shadow.
Can you hear me? I have something to say.
Hello everyone, how are you doing today? My name's Charlie. You might know me better as sci-fi fantasy writer C.E. Dorset, especially if you're reading my new book. Well, not really new anymore. My latest book, Crucify My Love. Yeah, I'm writing right now as these words are going out to you, and I hope you're having a good time too. This is going to be a nano pep talk. Pep. Why can't I say pep? So even if you're not involved in National Novel Writing Month, even if you're not a writer, I think this episode's going to have some stuff for you. So please stick around, and I hope you enjoy. But before we get into all that, if you haven't already, please do take a moment to rate this podcast in whatever app you're listening to me on. It really does help out a lot. It tells the algorithms to share the podcast with more people. The more people that listen, the bigger the community. The bigger the community, the better the chance we get to actually communicate with each other. And after all, that's why I do this in the first place. And I want to thank everybody who has already done that. All right, so the biggest thing I got to say right now is we can do it. We can do it. This is where everything gets hard. This is where the rubber hits the road. Today is the 18th day of National Novel Writing Month. We are over halfway through, and I know for myself, this time period is the hardest. I've done NaNoWriMo so many times, and about halfway through, somewhere in this time period, you hit that wall where you know you might not make it unless you hunker down. Because the mean thing that I do to myself is the books that I plan out are always bigger than 50,000 words. Not much bigger, but they're bigger than 50,000 words. And I see all that word count ahead of me, and it seems so big. And there are always some things that make it where there are days when you can't work. There are days that you can't write. And so you're not getting that word count in like you want. In that daily target, it starts creeping up. It starts creeping up, and you start feeling that pressure. How am I going to get there? How am I going to finish? And I'm going to it's the Dory method. You just keep swimming. We can do this. We can get through. We can make it to the end. Because all those little voices inside our heads that are telling us, no, you can't do that. You've set your goal too high. You've not done enough. You're not good enough. The effort that you need to put into this is not the effort that you've been putting into this. All of those voices, they are an illusion. They are a mask that we pull over our faces so that we are okay with not succeeding. And that's the one thing that we have to stop being okay with. We have to set our goals, set them realistically, but set them as a challenge. And that's a hard thing to balance right there. But we need to set those goals and we need to reach them because we can. The only person we're competing against are ourselves. I know other people are doing it, and today's the 18th, and I know for a fact around this time, people are already talking about how they already hit their 50,000 because they just hit it hard. And I'm not one of those people. And I don't know if you're one of those people, but if you've already hit your target, congrats. But for the rest of us who are still in the struggle, for the rest of us who are still in the fight, just remember, this target is doable. This project is doable. This story is tellable. All you have to do is stay in your characters' minds. All you have to do is stay in the flow. And if you can't find it, just step back for a minute, take a couple deep breaths, put on a song that inspires you, and then hit it hard again. Because that's how we get through. That's how we do this. That's how we succeed in everything in life. Is you just have to regroup, bring yourself back together, tell all the naysayers and the haters, even if they exist only in your own head, to shut up. Because we're not listening to that. That's noise. That's background noise. And we don't need it. We don't need any bit of it. Because we will be able to get through. We will be able to get to the end. Because we have decided that we are going to get there. And we can do what we put our minds to. And you know why I know that? You know why I have faith in you? You know why I have faith in us? You know why I have faith in myself? It's not because I've done this before, though that helps out a lot. It's because I know how badly I want this story to happen. I know how bad I want to feel that joy of hitting my target. I know how bad I want to feel that joy of completing a series. I set out to write 3 books in the Mask of the Gods series. You never know, I might write more, but I set out to write 3 books in the Mask of the Gods series. I knew those 3 books going in. This is the 3rd book that I'm working on right now. So finishing this book for me is going to mean so much more than anything else. Because not only am I going to be finishing a book, I'm going to be finishing a series. This is a goal I set for myself 3 years ago. And here I am about to complete it. It took 3 years to get here. Thought it would happen quicker. It didn't. But I'm here. And now it's going to happen. Because that thrill of victory, that thrill of success is the thing that I chase more than almost anything when it comes to my writing career. Because that thrill of completion, that thrill of having the story done, of having the draft done, that inspires me to go on. That helps me to get through the editing process, through the revisions, all the way through all the nightmares of publication. Because that's honestly what I find hardest. That's the part that I despise the most, is actually putting the book out in the world. Because there's so much you got to do for that is outside my comfort zone. And like everybody else in the world, I don't like going outside my comfort zone. So writing is the thing that I can do. And if I can hit my goals, and trust me, I'm gonna hit my goals, y'all can do it too. You can get there, and we can come along together. Because the one thing that I know about writers, because I know a lot of writers, is that we are tenacious. When we set our goals on something, when we set our sights on something, when that story worms its way into our head and won't let us go, to the point where we go, fine, I will write it. There is nothing that can stand between us and a completed book other than ourselves. And I know we are smart enough and good enough to not let ourselves stop ourselves from getting to that end goal. You can get there. You're the only one that can stop you. Now, there are situations that could crop up that could slow you down, and I understand those. I've had those in the past. But you are the only one that can truly stop you. You can work through the pain. You can work through anxiety. You can work through any of those things that come up. I know that because I have. So whatever little demons are lurking around in your head right now, telling you that you're not going to make it, just tell them to shut up. All those demons that are in there, they don't like listening. And I know they don't like listening. So don't think I'm pretending it's easy. I'm not pretending it's easy. But we can do what we put our minds to. We can do what we set our hearts to, because passion is the fuel of life. And we wouldn't have started these projects if they weren't passion projects. If we didn't really want to see the story finished. If we didn't really want to get to the end, we never would have started the road. So when that voice speaks up and says, why are you doing this? This is not the story that you should be doing. You are not ready for this. You're not good enough for this. We can tell that voice to just go away. Because if we weren't ready, we wouldn't have had the idea. If we weren't ready, we wouldn't have been able to get started. We did. We got started. We got to where we are now. And we're going to keep pushing. Because that's who we are. As a people, as a community, and as individuals within it. We support each other, we push each other, and we celebrate as each of us go forward at our own pace. Because we are not all going to finish the marathon at the same time, but we are going to finish. And you need to believe that about yourself so you can get yourself there. Every one of us has a dream. Every one of us has a goal, has an ambition, has a target laid out there somewhere on some roadmap of where we want to go, where we want to be, and how we want to get there. But if your dream involves writing, whether it's being traditionally published, self-published, or whatever, there's no way to get there without getting the words down. Without embracing that creative spirit that lives in you and me and riding that panther all the way to the end. It will try to turn on you. It will try to buck you off. Every now and then, it'll try to eat you alive. But you just tell it to shut up, because you know in your heart of hearts that ferocious battle cat is really a cringer in disguise. And once you get that in your head, once you understand that all of those dark thoughts, all of those things that are trying to hold you back, all those things that are trying to keep you from getting where you need to be, are just fear. And fear is a hollow, empty void that needs to destroy other things so it can feel whole and complete in and of itself. Once you understand that, once you feel that deep in your bones and in your heart, fear will have no power over you. Because fear is an illusion. Fear is what happens when we step out of the present, when we step out of the now, and live in all of the what might be's. But all of the what might be's that we come up with are worst case scenarios. And you know what? This is writing, y'all. There are no worst case scenarios for us to face. If we don't hit 50,000 words, you know what happens? We continue writing after National Novel Writing Month is over and we hit our 50,000 words. It's not the end of the world. And that's the thing that you need to get through your head. Fear will try to make you think that everything is the end of the world. Fear will try to make you believe that whatever it is that's haunting you is there to take you down. Well, this isn't going to take us down. It can't take us down. So what are we afraid of? Not hitting our goals? You know what that means? We just need to work harder. We need to find time, we need to put in the effort, and we need to hit the goals. Maybe we need to set more realistic goals. Especially if this is your first time doing National Novel Writing Month. That's 1,668 words a day that's minimally required to get through to the end of this and hit the 50,000 target. That's a lot. I've been writing for years, and my daily word count goal when I'm not doing Nano is just 1,600 words. I don't even try to do the full 1,668. Though sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And even then, I find it sometimes to be a stretch just to get those 1,600 words. It's not about being ill-prepared. It's about having the courage just to put words down, just to capture the idea. Because that's all you're doing right now. You're capturing the idea. Now, you might need to train it up a little bit. You may need to polish it off. And trust me, you will need to train it up a little bit, and you will need to polish it off. None of us are writing a perfect first draft, because perfect first drafts exist in finished works. They do. People write about them like they happen sometimes, and that's just wish fulfillment on the part of writers. We're telling stories about, child, I sat down and I wrote a perfect first draft. No, you didn't. None of us have ever written a perfect first draft. They all need work. And that's the courage that it takes to be a writer, is to know that what you're writing is probably crap. What you're writing is probably terrible. All those voices telling you that what you're doing right now is bad, it's terrible, it's the worst thing ever written, they are probably right. 100% they're probably right. But you know what? That's not the end of the journey. That's the beginning of the journey. Because if you don't have that rough diamond, you can't cut the facets in it. You can't make it sparkle and shine if you don't have it in your hand in the first place. And if you sit around just with a lump of coal and you ain't putting it under heat and pressure, you ain't never going to get a diamond, and you're not going to have anything to cut into shape. All them sparkles, they take process to get to. It's the heat and pressure that you go through with the drafting that makes the diamond, but that diamond is rough and dull and nasty looking. And then you go through and cut it, put them facets in, catch that light, catch that sparkle, and then you have a good work. So why do you care when your mind starts shouting at you that this is the worst thing you've ever written? Because you know what? It very well might be. I've finished drafts that I was telling myself the whole time, this is the best thing I've ever written. And then I got back and I read it. Whew, I was wrong. I was very wrong. But with some time, energy, and effort, and a good editing and revision routine, I was able to beat that story into shape. Because that's where the real task comes in. Right now, we're just out there catching fairies and dragonflies and fireflies. We're trying to find the things that sparkle and shine and putting them down as best as we can. And when we can't, we're just going to put a little mud on it and hope that later we can polish it to a shine. Because that's what the real work is. So don't worry if you think that the work that you're writing right now is crap. Because it probably is. Because it hasn't been edited yet. It hasn't been revised yet. This is just about putting it on the page. This is just about getting it in its rawest, most natural form. And that's never pretty. It's all the preparation work that goes into honing it and making it nice that will get it to that place we want it to be. So don't worry about how good the words are that you're writing. Don't worry about how perfect the text is or how bad the text is. Because who knows how much of the text you're currently writing will survive to the end of the editing process. But you can't polish something you don't have. And that's what we're doing right now. And that's why I know you can do this. Because even if it's simple paint by numbers fiction that you're writing right now, even if it is not anything amazing or groundbreaking or showing any signs of perfection or brilliance, you'll get it there. But this isn't the time for all that. So stop wasting your time thinking about it. When those thoughts come up and start telling you, this is just crap, just look at them and say, yeah, that's what editing's for. Shut up. And you may think that it sounds crazy that I talk to myself a lot, but I kind of do. I suppose it's the writer in me that turns all of these ideas and thoughts that come my way into characters. But I like to do that because then I got somebody to address. And you know what? When you learn to tell these ideas, these stupid ideas that come up in your head that try to hold you back to shut up, they don't listen to you until they listen to you. But if you're not telling them to shut up, if you're not telling them to go away, if you're not just pushing past them and getting your work done, they are going to take over your head. So just get used to it. Tell them to shut up. Tell them they don't belong here. Tell them they're early. You want to judge my fiction? That's what editing and revision is for. Come back then. That's when I need you. I don't need you now. Right now, I'm just trying to get words on paper or words on the screen. You can do it. We can do it. We are going to make it to the end of this. And I'm not just saying that because I decided to do a pep talk episode of the show. I'm saying that because I know from experience, the harder it feels in the process, the more likely it is that you're actually going to get there, because resistance fights hardest when you're on the verge of success. So I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I hope you're getting all the words written. If you did and you haven't already, please take a moment to rate this podcast in whatever app you're listening to me on. It really does help out a lot. If you have any questions, comments, or topics you'd like to hear on the show, especially if you're doing NaNoWriMo with us and you'd like to have your personal journey brought up on the Friday recap episode, I would love to hear from you. In the show notes, you'll find a link to the voice message system. Just click that link, keep it short, keep it clean so I can use it on the show. I would love to hear from you and include your story in with mine. If you'd rather hit me up on social media, I am C. Dorset on Twitter and Instagram. You can find links to that and everything that I do over at projectshadow.com. And I mean everything that I do, because I do too much sometimes. I want to say thank you to everybody who's listening right now, who made it this far into the episode. I really do mean it. I'm not just blowing smoke. I really do mean it. We can do whatever we set our mind to. That's one of the things that keeps me going every day, no matter how hard life feels. So if you'd like to join the project, you can find links in the show notes to both my Patreon and the listener support. I thank everybody who does that. You make everything that I do possible, and I could not do the books, I couldn't do the World Anvil, I couldn't do the podcast without you. And thank you. If you don't have any money right now and you don't feel like joining, that's fine. I understand. But if you know anybody that would like any of the stuff that I do, please share it with them. That helps out immensely as well. And until next time, get all the words written. I know you can do it. I'm in there with you. And don't forget to have the fun. Bye.